Alright guys, today we're gonna have a hard time. The other day I was scrolling through the channel and seeing that it's been over a year since I've actually made a video on my unfiltered opinions on how I think the state of Clash Royale is. I think these kind of videos are important because much of the Clash Royale scene is pretty scripted, and I mean, they can make whatever they want, but I think it is really important when people give their actual opinions. Today we're gonna be talking about the last year of Clash Royale, all the good, the bad, and the ugly. There's been a ton of changes in Clash Royale over the past year, so let's get right to it. Simple as that. Just fucking go, goddamn.
No.
You like these 2-word changes. Like, I'll sit here and say the most random shit, and then you're just like, oh, you said it instead of the right here. Let's fucking redo the whole goddamn thing. No, we're gonna fucking do it. So first we're going to talk about the good. This section's going to be pretty quick. Lucky drops, I think those were pretty good. Many people think they were a scam, but they are very good for free-to-play players. You can get some very good rewards for absolutely free. Many players think that the rewards are crappy, but that's because you've been playing the game for 6 years and have all of the lower tier rewards that you need, and you're just waiting for those elite wildcards. Lucky drops actually gives you the opportunity to get these elite wildcards and actually upgrade your cards to the level 15. We all know how difficult that is, but lucky drops have a 5,000 elite wildcard option and a 50,000 elite wildcard option. The only thing that really got nerfed was the gold in some of the chests, but that's not really that big of a deal anymore. Gold is kind of useless to anyone that's actually somewhat experienced. Some of the newer players needed a little bit more, but I think the trade-off is very good still. The added rewards just completely outweigh the downside of getting less gold, so I think this was just a very good change overall. The next good change is probably a change that many of y'all didn't even notice happen. There's now a Path of Legends TV Royale. Used to, there's only a Legendary Arena TV Royale, so basically anybody can be on TV Royale that's at 9,000 trophies. I don't know if many of y'all know, but there are some very bad players at 9,000 trophies that most good players can absolutely run over without an issue. With Path of Legends TV Royale, this gets a little bit easier to like weed through some of the bad games. If you want to see top tier content, you go here to see it. You can go on YouTube and watch it, but inside of the game is just much more important because many players don't watch Clash Royale YouTube. Another great thing that happened over the past year was the collaboration with chess.com. I don't think the Chess Royale mode itself was very good, but I think it sets a good precedent of how Clash Royale can grow their game in the future. Partnering with other games will not only bring new players in, but it will keep the game fresh for some of the older players, and it keeps Clash Royale from making game-breaking decisions and completely changing the game every couple of months. The last good change is that Clash Royale finally nerfed evolution. I know this was a pretty recent change, but Clash Royale was really going down a bad path. It was turning into a very pay-to-win game where it turned into evolution versus evolution and not deck versus deck, player versus player. It turned into if you just have the best evolution, you're just going to win the game if the other player doesn't. The clean win percentages on some of these cards was absolutely ridiculous. The fact that they were willing to nerf these evolutions means that they're somewhat listening to their community. I know that this will probably not change much in the future. They're probably still going to release broken cards to sell them more. But at the same time, I think this was a pretty good step in the right direction. If they're willing to listen to us that we need a change, we needed these evolutions nerfed because it was going down a completely bad path, I think that's a good sign for future changes, and if there's even more issues in the future, that they're somewhat still going to be willing to listen to us. Now we're going to talk about some of the bad changes. Let's start out with evolution. I think we all know how bad evolutions have been. Ever since they were first added to the game, the first couple of them were just absolutely ridiculous. I don't know if you guys remember when the Evolved Royal Giant came out, but it was absolutely stupid. It would just kill everything. It had the health of a goddamn golem, and it just shot from the bridge. It killed everything in sight. When the Evolved Firecracker came out, even worse. Do you remember when the Evolved Firecracker would do about 1,000 damage per shot? Yeah, that happened. Many of these evolutions got about 10 nerfs and they're still good. And these most recent changes, like I discussed in the last section, they all got nerfed. Hopefully this gets them to a point that maybe they'll be somewhat more balanced overall, but the fact that you can just buy cards and just automatically be better than your opponent just because you have specific evolutions in your deck is kind of stupid, and I really think this hurt the growth of the game overall. New players are going to be at an absolutely huge disadvantage to older players, and many of you guys get mad at this, but after you buy the evolutions, when they nerf it, you know it's coming. You know they're going to nerf it, but you still buy it to get that advantage, and then everyone complains that it's broken, then you complain that they nerfed it after you bought it. And to add on top of this issue, there's now 2 evolution slots, and there's probably going to be 3, 4, 5, and 6 here in the future. The second evolution slot just makes this 2 times the issue. There's now 2 evolutions versus 2 evolutions instead of 1 evolution versus 1 evolution. So if you only have the money to buy 1 evolution, which is already ridiculous that you had to buy an evolution in the first place, but now that you have to have 2 evolutions, you can't really just trade them off for other evolution. If you get the Royal Giant evolution and you bought the Firecracker evolution, you can't just exchange those. This isn't even talking about the power creep problem where all these evolutions just have to keep on outdoing each other, and when there's 2, the whole deck is centered around these 2 power crept cards that just absolutely control your deck and just control the game. The next bad change was level 15. You all know about it. I made about 20,000 shorts about it. Everyone knows level 15 was one of the worst things ever. We all know, especially how they rolled it out with elite wildcards, stuff like that. It's absolutely miserable. It is just as hard to get from level 0 to 14 as it is to get to level 14 to 15. It is really ridiculous, and there's really no way you're going to be able to get a max deck within a decent period of time without spending money. Lucky drops have kind of helped this a little bit, but it still takes absolutely forever to get to the point that you have a max deck so you can compete at the upper levels of the game. It's kind of ridiculous, and it was a really bad change to the game. It was a completely profit-driven decision that didn't take any of the players' thoughts or any of the players' opinions into account before they did. The next bad change was Tower Troops. Tower Troops were somewhat recent change. The Cannoneer wasn't really that game-breaking. It doesn't absolutely destroy everything. It was good, but it wasn't absolutely broken like the freaking Dagger Duchess was. When the Dagger Duchess was released, it just absolutely smoked everything. The problem with Tower Troops was that it changed every single interaction. It's not like when there's a broken card, you have to get back into cycle, and you're going to use that card 4 or 5 times a game if it's a cycle card, or if it's an overpowered win condition, 2 or 3. A Tower Troop is going to absolutely break every single part of the game. The Dagger Duchess just completely destroyed multiple different archetypes, like Log Bait, Royal Recruits, any of that kind of stuff was absolutely wiped from the meta because of that one Tower Troop. I haven't even mentioned the biggest problem about Tower Troops, and that's how rock, paper, scissors it makes the game. Like I said a while ago with the Evos, you're playing Evo versus Evo instead of deck versus deck. With Tower Troops, it basically made it, you're playing Tower Troop versus deck, and if you lose that matchup, you're done. You're gonna lose. Like if you're playing a spam deck and you see Cannoneer, you're gonna win the game. Like that is ridiculous. No one wants to play a game like that. There's no skill involved when it comes to that kind of stuff. Thankfully, the Dagger Duchess and the Cannoneer got nerfed with a lot of those evolutions, but I think this is gonna be a real problem with every single Tower Troop that they added to the game. It's just gonna make the game more rock, paper, scissors for those first couple of months before they nerf the freaking Tower Troop. If I were Supercell, I would cut my losses with Tower Troops and not add a single other one. You have a fast shooting one, a slow shooting one, that's all you need. Stop adding them to the game. The last thing in the bad section is the stupid fucking Little Prince. That thing was ridiculous. I don't know if I have ever seen a card that game breaking in my entire life that they refused to nerf. We all knew when the Phoenix was released that it was broken. I know many of you little kids on here whine that it wasn't broken, but it was broken and you knew it. And Supercell nerfed it, I think like 11 times. The Little Prince, on the other hand, those guys just like, no, Little Prince is fine. No, we're just gonna leave it at a 60% use rate and like an 85% clean win percentage. Like, what the hell are you thinking? The Little Prince was one of the most broken cards in the history of the game. Elite Barbarians back in the early days of Clash Royale, the Night Witch, all those cards didn't even compare to this stupid thing. It shot from the goddamn bridge, it did 70,000 damage every time it shot, and it's 3 fucking elixir. The thing gives bursts to knights with the goddamn ability. It's so stupid. It was a terrible concept, and then they just refused to nerf it, and that's the problem. When you make a mistake as Supercell, you have to be willing to fix your mistake, or else people are just gonna leave the game. If you just give the card to a whole bunch of mid-ladder players for free, they all use it. It has a 100% use rate in mid-ladder, and it just smokes everyone's deck. Everyone's gonna quit. No one's gonna have fun. It was a terrible addition to the game, and it really showed how money-hungry Supercell was, at least at that point in time, and that they refused to change their mistake after they already made it. So what could be worse than the Little Prince? Well, the ugly section. The ugly section isn't really the gameplay issues. Those can be changed somewhat quickly. The ugly section is things that are going to affect the long term of Clash Royale, and the things that are going to make Clash Royale go downhill even quicker than we originally thought. Supercell is coming out with a new game called Squad Busters, or whatever the f it's called. I don't really know. And it seems like they are taking a lot of their attention away from Clash Royale, a lot more than their other games like Clash of Clans, Brawl Stars, and even freaking Hate It. And with Squad Busters coming in to just completely take all the attention away from all the other games, I think Clash Royale is going to get swept under the rug. We have had 2 community managers leave, and I'm not going to say that the community managers necessarily did nothing wrong. I think Drew handled the level 15 situation absolutely terribly. I don't think you could have faced criticism any worse than what he did. He basically ignored everyone that actually was trying to genuinely have a conversation, and then snapped back at people with some of the worst comebacks I've ever seen on the internet. Drew kind of had a target on his back after that point. So, I mean, I kind of understand why he would want to leave, but Max, on the other hand, don't really understand it. He wanted to go to other games, I guess, I assume, but then we were left with a new Clash Royale community manager. I don't think she's bad, I think she does a good job, but I think that does kind of show something when we've had 2 community managers leave within the year. Clash Royale used to be the most important, then the second most important, then the third most important game of Supercell's, and it seems just like it's been going lower and lower and lower on their priority charts. It seems like they've kind of given up on Clash Royale. If they're giving up on their own game, how are content creators, how are diehard players really going to change it? Overall, I really just don't think Supercell cares about Clash Royale that much anymore. Now that Clash Royale isn't making near as much money as it used to, Supercell just doesn't give a shit about what the player base thinks. It seems strange to me that Supercell doesn't listen to the community even after nothing that they've done is worked. They end up just going on this little path that just runs their game into the ground because they're too stubborn to listen to the people that actually pay them to make the game. I really don't want to be this gloomy about the game because I have been having fun playing it, but at the same time, it is pretty disheartening seeing that Supercell is kind of putting less and less into the game and just running off with other new projects and just leaving us in the dust.